Hi there. I'm just getting some props that I'm going to use later on in this video. These were my readings when I first started university 30 years ago? No, yes, 30 years ago. It's not, hang on, 1992, 1997, no, 25 years ago. Anyway, it's a long time. Speaking of which, this is my workspace, and it's also my living room. This is probably the last time you'll see this wide shot, because I just wanted to show you the space that I actually work in, to let you know that it's just a messy lounge room, and you may be working in a messy lounge room, or maybe a tidy lounge room as well. And in addition, my husband is working in the room next door, which is the dining room, but it's also his workspace. He works from home most days of the week. Jay, oh, there he is.
Hello.
Yes, so we actually met at university 25 years ago, and we've been married for 10 years now. So let me just work through this. I haven't, working through the technology is a bit of a challenge. Now I've changed to this camera here, and this is the shot that you'll mostly see. And if I go to this camera, this is the shot that you will pretty much always see when I do my Friday Live. Now, I call this video Friday Live, and welcome to Friday Live. This Friday, the 11th of November. So I do this Friday Live every Friday, and the whole purpose is that, while I say it's Friday Live, you're watching a recording, and the reason why I call it live is because I'm not going to do any takes if I get anything wrong. What you see is what you get. And this first video might go a little bit longer than the 10 minutes that I hope for, because I feel like there's a lot of things that I want to talk about. There's so much activity in the discussion boards this week. It's great to see everyone jumping in and being brave and posting videos and posting introductions about themselves. Revealing yourself to strangers is that's going to be one of the most challenging things we do, I think, in life. But I mean, part of it's acceptance, part of it is not knowing whether you're doing it the right way or whatever. But anyway, it's wonderful to see all those connections forming in the discussion boards. Thanks for replying to other students' posts. Of course, it's a great courtesy to respond to other students' posts as well, because you're helping to validate the work that they're doing too. And also, it's a way that we can check in and make sure people are hearing us and that you're hearing them. Learning and communicating online is the title of this unit, but it's also something that, it's a lifelong process, learning and communicating. And, I'm still trying to get it right, as you'll see in my videos, where I often make the occasional mistakes. Okay, so where am I up to? Okay, I've got an agenda. That's where I'm up to. Let me bring up my agenda. And there we go. So these agendas, well, they're good on the screen to show you what I'm talking about. That's really helpful for me, because I often babble and get off topic very easily. So today I want to have a look at what does your journey look like? Because it's critical to sort of get a handle or have an idea of your journey from very early on. I've just showed you my study space, my workspace, and it's important that you can find your own study space or workspace, and if you can, a dedicated workspace where you can leave your books. Let me just show you. Can I go to this overhead shot? Probably not. Let me try. It's all very scary. and fade across. Okay, so, so I've got a camera up here as well. Hi there. Um, and so, this is my study space, so or workspace. So it just all occurs on one table. I used to have a table that was half this size, or a desk that was half this size, but it was still enough. So I think as long as you've got somewhere where you can put your laptop or your computer, where you can have, I have a calendar here. So this is obviously a hard copy calendar. You can't see it, but it's by the week. This is my coffee. You don't really need to be seeing my coffee, and I have three monitors going. You probably don't, given that you're students and not teaching online education, you probably only need one monitor, maybe two. I'm going to change this angle back because it's really weird looking up backwards like that. So sorry, that was very strange. Alrighty, so yeah, so that's study space. So that's that out of the way. So the point there is that it's really good if you can have a dedicated study space, and if you're working at home, and that's where you have to work from, see if you can find, carve out a space that's your space. To where you get your studies done, and it's it's a good it's part of habit forming as well. If you have trouble, not the working at home with another person is a problem, but sometimes you might want to get out or get away. And I find my local library is a great place to get away to. I just take my laptop up there. And the one I like to go to actually is not my local library. It's called the Dock Library in Melbourne's Docklands. It's a library that's right on the Yarra River, and has a beautiful outlook. So you can get a bit distracted by watching boats sail past. But your local library might be a good place to find some dedicated. If you haven't got dedicated space at home, then try and find dedicated time for yourself, and that might be in another space like a library. Alrighty, so moving on to context. My context is when I first started uni, as I said, about 25 years ago, I met Jay in first year. But anyway, at that time, I was trying to, I'd come back from China. I'd been working in China for 3 years, and I came back to Australia, and I was unemployed and had, things were not well, and I were not good. I went on unemployment benefit, I put on weight, I was feeling quite kind of depressed. I was living with my parents, I was going bald. This was, well, how old was I? I can't even think. Anyway, it was not a good time, and being on unemployment benefit, you had all these forms to fill out. I was living in the countryside, like in central Victoria, and I just things were not good. So for me, my context or my study at that time, the motivation was to escape from unemployment benefit, in some ways to escape from my parents. I was an adult living with my parents, and for me, that wasn't working. And so I moved into some student accommodation at Melbourne University, and I started my degree there. And in fact, when I started my degree, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I mean, many of you may know what you want to do, but some of you may not know what you want to do. I knew I was interested in art history. I'd watched some TV documentaries over the years. There was a nun, I can't think what her name is, Sister somebody, but she would give tours of the Vatican or of art galleries around Europe, and she spoke really well and knowledgeably about the artwork. And it wasn't a highfalutin sort of documentary. It was just a documentary for those who were interested in learning a little bit about art. But I just loved listening to the way that she described and talked about the art and the artists. And so when I went to university, I decided to do art history. So art history was my context, my motivation for studying. And I liked film, and when I saw that cinema studies was something I could study, I studied cinema studies as well. So my context that was my context. I had an interest in cinema and art, and that was how my degree started. So and the reason why I'm mentioning that is because it's important that you have a context now at the start of this particular unit, because in this unit, it really is talking about professional development in a career area. So there'll be many of you here who are doing teaching or psychology, design, what's the terrorism and something. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. But there's, in fact, if I go to the modules, and module 1.5 is talking about professional development. And down the bottom here, there are some links to different codes of ethics. So part of in this first week, you've been looking at your dream career. Now, if you, like me, when you first started at university and had no specific idea of where you wanted to go, you really do need to find an area of interest or an area of endeavor that you would like to pursue. Now, that could be in a voluntary basis or it could be in a community basis. For most of you, it will be in a professional work environment because you're either looking to change jobs, or you're looking to get more knowledge in your current job, or maybe you've left high school and started university, and this is your second go. My first go at university was not good, but I had a second go at university about 15 years after my first go, and everything turned out for the best. So some of you will be returning students. That's what I'm getting at. But it's important for you to find your context, and then once you've found that, then apply, when you're working through the discussions and the assessments, that context. If you want to be a teacher, look at all of these discussions and assignments within the context of being a teacher. Or if you want to go into psychology, look within the context of being a psychologist, and put yourself in the first person as a teacher or as a psychologist, or whatever that career is. Put yourself in that position when you're looking at our discussions and our assessments, and frame your responses from that perspective. So in my case, it was art history. That doesn't really work in this case. But if I was if my context was art history, well, then maybe I considered myself teaching art history, and that's my context. I try and apply the context of being a teacher in art history or cinema studies to the assessments and the discussion tasks in this unit. Of course, you don't have to stick to maybe you start in week one, and you think you're going to be a physical education teacher, and so all of your research is about being a teacher of physical education. During the thing, you may decide, oh no, I'm going to be an early childhood teacher instead. So instead of teaching high school students, I want to teach kinder students. So during the course of this unit, if your ideas change, or if your career endeavors change, well, then that's okay. If you finish with a different career concept in week 12 than what you have this week in week 1, that's absolutely okay. Alrighty. So that's context. Let me move quite quickly because we're already up to 15 minutes and I only wanted to be 10 minutes. Goals, my unit goals. All right, so the quickest way and the shortest way I can get through this one is by going into the discussions. Let me go into Learning Group 7. And if you go to assignment, I just went to assignment 2. I wanted to go to assignment 3. If you go to assignment 3 and watch my video on unit and course goals, this will help you, give context to choosing your unit and course goals. So we don't want your unit and course goals to be something like, I want to get high distinctions for every assessment. That's not the kind of goal we're looking at. We're looking about big picture goals. So your unit goal might be, I want to learn how to study better. The reason why I'm mentioning that one is because this coming week, we're looking at metacognition. And metacognition is about understanding how we learn or how we process information. So metacognition might become your unit or your course goal. So you want to develop your metacognition skills. That's a specific goal. So we don't want, look, getting HDs for all your assessments is a great goal. It's just that that's not the kind of goal we're looking at for your unit and course goals. We want you to have a unit and course goals that relates to the theories and the readings that we're teaching in this unit. And wanting to learn better how to learn metacognition, that's the kind of goal that we want you to look at. In fact, you could use that goal if you wanted to. That's not a problem at all. Alrighty, so I think that's enough from me. Let me just go back to this screen. Okay, what is it? 16 minutes. All right, sorry for taking so long. Look, I hope you enjoyed this Friday Live. This isn't exactly how Friday Live will go every week, but this is how it's gone this week without doing a second take. It's been great to catch up with you in the discussion boards, and I'll be in the discussion boards over this coming weekend as well. So I'll be reading more of your posts and getting to know you, and you'll get to know me. And, this is all about learning and communicating online. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next Friday for more Friday Live. Bye for now. And where's my off button? Here.